One last amazing mini keynote for today. We are going to be with Justin Bird at Team Velocity, and he's going to be talking about no widgets, just results. Take it away.
Thank you so very much. Hello. There we go. So good afternoon, everyone. Wow, it's just us, dude. Like, we really could let our hair down and have some fun here. But as she stated, my name is Justin Bird. I'm the president of Team Velocity. And today what we're going to talk about is no widgets, just results. And because this is such a small audience, if there's a question that you have, a comment that you want to make, I would love to make this as interactive as humanly possible because we want you to get from this as much as you would like. Come on down. This is like a game show now, Danny. This is actually pretty cool. But just a little bit of background on myself. Prior to joining Team Velocity 13 years ago, I worked for the OEM. I worked for Chrysler at the time, and then we went through a number of iterations within Chrysler. But during those times, I began to see the challenges that were happening in and around dealers. And when you think about a problem and or a challenge, it's only natural to start beginning to think about a solution. When you begin to also see the types of changes that have happened in the overall automotive landscape, it really has been a wild ride. And one of the things that I also like to say is that we're just some dealer-loving fools, because at the end of the day, our job is to serve, and it is to serve these dealers in this ever-changing automotive landscape. You know, we also like to say that, a lot of people say that the industry is changing, which is ING. We believe that the industry has changed. It's ED. And it's just a matter of what tools you're going to be able to use to generate the most effective approach for your dealership. It's amazing that regardless of how sophisticated your technology tool is, no matter how sophisticated your strategy is and how sophisticated your data set and your audience targeting, a dealer's like, how many cars did I sell? How many cars did I service, and for what gross? A good friend of mine once told me, volume is vanity, gross and net is sanity. So today, what we're going to talk about is a little bit of what's also happening in the automotive landscape. You like that one, don't you? That one's good. Volume is vanity, gross and net is sanity. And that's a little bit of an approach that we take too when it comes to our overall technology platform. Today, we do service over 2,000 dealers across the country. This ranges and it varies in size from a secondary rural market to dealers that are in major metros. We are located about 75 miles from here in Herndon, Virginia. I live in Leesburg. And then we also have a support center in El Paso, Texas, and soon to be opening another one in Scottsdale. Our business continues to grow across the overall country, and that's really predicated on the OEM certifications. As many of you know, the OEMs go a long way for deciding who gets a chance to work with their retailers, and we are very, very excited on these relationships that we have. There's a couple more logos that will be added here in the short term, but it is also interesting to see what's happening in the OEM landscape, because I don't know what the various roles are that you guys represent or what organizations you're with, but there still continues to be what we call the tug of war for the customer. Who does the customer really belong to? Many of the OEMs say, no, that's our customer. You just get a chance to take care of them. The dealer's like, no, this is my customer. I built this $10 million facility. I got to generate the throughput to keep us above water. But really for us, and being able to serve these OEMs, it is really interesting to see what happens with the consumers across these various touch points, which our technology goes a long way for doing. We also represent a lot of automotive groups across the country. There's a lot of acquisitions that are beginning to happen now inside of the automotive landscape. And many of them are beginning to look for platforms that can help them execute on the strategies that they're looking to execute. Any Ted Lasso fans in here? Yeah, baby. You gotta believe or be leaving. And if you think about this technology landscape that we're in today, whether it be the various vendors that are here, the different dealerships that are here, everyone has their own sort of approach, if you will. But we believe very much that you gotta believe or be leaving. Now you say to yourself, well, what is that you're asking them to believe in? And if you think about it from an industry perspective, many of the websites that you go to today, they're just riddled with widgets, okay? And some people are like, yeah, dude, but why do you guys have such a crazy outlook on widgets? We look at widgets no different than a boat dealer would look at a boat that they sold. You walk down to the marina, you see the boat's not being fully utilized, it's not in good condition, and it's filled with a bunch of barnacles. You ever go through a marina and you see those old boats and you're like, man, Is that what was weighing that boat down? We very much believe that is what's happening today in the technology space, specifically around dealerships' websites. It's a lot of siphoning off activity to come around and say, look what we did. There's a really powerful quote that a professor of mine in college introduced me to, and he said, you would be amazed at what you can accomplish if you don't care who gets the credit. Think about that. You would be amazed at what you can accomplish if you don't care who gets the credit. And we believe that in the technology landscape, it's a lot of credit. We want credit. Oh, well, it was the email. Oh, well, it was this it was the DR tool. Oh, it was this. Oh, it was that. Meanwhile, you got a dealer sitting there with all these barnacles, still not hitting their number, and everyone saying that they came in and they crushed it for the dealer. The dealer's like, I haven't seen any of you guys here. Matter of fact, it's me and my team schlepping it out. So from a technology perspective, we do believe in a holistic solution and a holistic approach, because over the millions and millions of consumer transactions that we've analyzed, dealers don't realize is you're talking to the same customer. It's just through several different voices. And imagine what that feels like to the customer. You know, I'm always amazed when I'm out in the field with our dealers, and I'm like an energy monster. I can just feel the energy in a showroom. You can feel the tenseness. And I'm like, hey, what's going on over there? Oh, that's a lady, man. We sold her 3 cars. The guys didn't even know we sold her 3 cars, and she's asking for her floor mats, and they're over there they're down there playing tug of war. I'm like, is that what's going on there? Holy smokes. Customers walking in, they coming up to the desk, reminding the dealership of the offers that they're offering and promoting, and no one at the desk is aware of any of them. The salesperson is actually walking to the tower like, hey, boss, do we really have this for $299? Geez, I didn't even know that. So imagine what type of feeling that provides to the consumer. Now let's take it one step further. That same consumer today can pull up their phone, and Starbucks knows in advance on their birthday what type of coffee they want. And that's for a $6 coffee. And the customer is saying for a $110,000 BMW, I got to go through this? So then, you know, a lot of times my employees will say, well, Justin, you're always so calm. And I'm like, you know what the reason why I'm calm is because I believe in my company, it's the team's responsibility to deal with the effects of things. My job as a leader, or one of the many jobs I have as a leader, is my job is to find the cause. Anybody remember in middle school or elementary school being introduced to Smokey the Bear? Smokey the Bear never fought a fire. Smokey the Bear was there to encourage and to educate on the causes of fires. That's how Smokey the Bear ended up having an impact. And we tell the dealers the same thing can happen as you look at your overall technology approach. Many of the dealerships that we walk into today, this is the general manager or this is the dealer. And on purpose, because we respect this industry, we blurred out the logos of the various companies in the industry. But that literally is what is happening to these general managers and these dealers. In a way, it's almost like going to Vegas and you're playing roulette and you're like, dude, let me just put a chip on every number. But even if it hits, you're going to break even. So these general managers, and I don't know about you guys, what you've seen here in the last 12 months, it ain't easy anymore. We're back to retailing cars. Isn't that amazing? I should actually call my dad at the end of this, because when I was a kid, my dad used to say, son, no matter what you're going through in life, it's not forever. It's not forever. If it's going good, that's great. It just ain't forever. It ain't going good, that's okay. It's just not forever. And the last 3 years made us feel like, oh my God, you mean to tell me we could have no inventory, make all the growth we want, and look at my W-2. And now people are waking up and realizing, oh my gosh, I have to work 3x as hard to even get anywhere close to the money that I used to make. But it's interesting how we all end up coming back to the ground wire. And the ground wire is, well, what are the basics? What's in my bag? What am I actually using in this game of golf called automotive? Because there are some par 5s out there and there are some par 3s with water. And at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you have the right solutions in place because we understand that dealers do truly, truly struggle in this technology landscape because it all sounds good. It all promises to do more. It all promises to increase your performance. But at the end of the day, you have to think about this individual here. Some people say perception is reality, and I say that's not true. Perspective is reality. And when you think about it from the perspective of a general manager, when you think about it from the perspective of a dealer, it does give you a little bit of a different lens as to how they struggle in this fragmented technology landscape. Next up is, obviously in this industry, we hear a lot about data. How many of you guys in this conference this week have heard the term data? Dude, it's all, aren't you, I know we're recording this, but aren't you just like numb to it? You're like, okay, we get it. It's a bunch of data. But can somebody help me with the data? Dealers understand that they have a plethora of data on their customers, but it's what do I do with it? How do I execute on it? And I think sometimes, even ourselves, we can almost out IQ the problem. Because at the end of the day, this data, it is vast, but being able to make good use of the data to where it is executionable on, and you actually can drive results in your store is really where this is gonna bear the most fruit. The first step that we do when it pertains to data is we integrate. So from the integration of the vehicle data, the pricing data, the OEM's incentives, down to finance, and I don't know if you guys have been looking at incentives lately, but it's down to the zip code. They're like, oh, well, you live here? Well, no, you don't get that. Well, no, dude, I'm 2 streets over. I know, but that's a different zip code. So imagine what that looks like for dealers. Those dealers who struggle in this automotive landscape, they actually end up doing a lot of bad things, but for really good reasons. They're just trying to articulate the value prop to the consumer. But one mistake in this data lake, and all of a sudden you're screwed. Now you're in a swamp with a bunch of piranhas. So it is really critical and key for dealers to have integration from the start. And also too, everybody wants to get out really fast. Because guess what? The month waits on no one. So the truth of the matter is you have to have a partner that's already thinking downstream about what's happening with your consumers. And it actually starts with the integration. From the integration, you now can do something that's really powerful, and it's called automation. Again, I'm not sure which roles you guys are in or which stores you represent, but have you ever found yourself struggling to get humans to do what humans were supposed to do? Crazy. One of the most powerful words that I hear in retail locations today is this powerful word called why. I don't care if it's the BDC, the general manager, the GSM, or the dealer. The dealer's like, why are we doing that? And it reminds me of a 2-year-old. Do you know the most popular word of a 2-year-old is why? Why do I have to go to bed? Why do I have to eat my vegetables? Why is the light green? And as a parent, guess what you're saying? Because I freaking told you to. But guess what the 2-year-old is searching for? Understanding. And dealers themselves are searching for the understanding of why. And the technology goes a long way for being able to automate it. Now, how our automation works is in the center, our technology platform is called Apollo. And Apollo is the customer experience platform where the customer is going to experience your store. That's where we integrate. It starts with the website. From the website, we also do the digital advertising because the vast majority of that traffic that's on that website is actually coming from the digital advertising. And you would be amazed. You would be amazed at how many search ads are actually searched for, only for the consumer to do exactly what you wanted them to do. They actually click on it, and we land them in the lobby of your website. It would be like going to a department store and you're like, I'm here for suits. And they're like, yeah, sure, let me just bring you to the front of the mall. There's a ton of stuff here at the mall. You can have anything here you like. The customer's like, dude, I was here for suits. So when that customer actually clicks on that Ram 1500, they want to land on a Ram 1500. Novel idea. But if you look across the automotive landscape today, these experiences happen hundreds and thousands of times every single second. In addition, about 45 to 55% of that traffic are previous customers. I don't know if you've gone to a dealership website lately, but we firmly believe, one of those believe or believing, is that a website is meant to provide information, not gather it. Most of the websites that we go out in the marketplace and we see before we end up taking on the client, it's the website asking for information. What's your name? What car are you driving? What's your VIN? You know what car would you like to have service? The customer's like, I bought the car from you. The same car that you emailed me on and you told me you wanted to buy it. Now I come to the website of the company that said they wanted to buy my car and you're asking me who I am? You're asking me what I want to service? What service am I due for next? So our websites go a long way for being able to provide information. And one of those magical approaches is because we integrate with the DMS. Because we integrate with the DMS, it gives us down to the transactional level. Every customer has their own individual website. Also, too, I don't know if you've gone to dealership websites, but everyone's in love with the magical banners. We've had more conversations about creatives on banners only to realize no one freaking clicks the banners. And because you don't know the consumer, guess what the banners become? A carnival of stuff. It's an online bazaar. Because I don't know if you're going to be wondering about our core values as a company, or you're wondering about this new EV, or you want this new Ram 1500 for $499. And it just rotates every 4 seconds. But in our websites, we create an individual website for every last one of the customers. And you know what the feature vehicle is on their personalized website? The current vehicle that they're driving. Because at the end of the day, that's where that relationship is going to start with the dealership. Whether it be for sales or service, it's going to start with what they are currently driving. Now, I know we want to get them into something else. I get that. But you can't tease them with something else until you show them what they currently have. One of the number one click features on our websites is their trade-in value. It's amazing what consumers will actually tell you. It's almost equal to what I see customers text people at the dealership. Have you seen some of these text messages between dealerships and customers? I'm like, I wouldn't even tell that to my accountant, let alone some salesperson that I found on a website. Now I'm texting you all of my life's information. Like, it's crazy. But it actually shows you the degree by which the customer wants to be helped. No one wants to talk about this, and maybe this is probably too polarizing, but consumers actually look at the dealership as a place of distribution. They want to do as much as they possibly can before arriving at the dealership, so when they get there, it's literally sign here what I already DocuSign and give me my keys, because, dude, I'm gone. So going back to the Smokey the Bear, well, what's the cause of that? The cause of that is all the siphoning that happens when they are literally just trying to get the trade value on their car. Anybody here ever use a trade tool on some dealerships' websites? Okay. How difficult is it to actually get the trade value that it says click here to get your trade value? You're like, oh my God, that's exactly what I want. You click it. Where's the trade value? Well, can I have your name first? Okay, here's my name. Okay, now that I got your name, can I get your email? All right, here's my email. Okay, now can I get your phone number? Sure, okay, here you go. You got your address by chance? Okay, here's my address. Somebody will call you. Does anyone ever call you? Dude, it's crazy. Consumers will actually do what you tell them to do, but you have to respond based on what you ask them to do. So when people start, oh, look at what's happening with Carvana, look at their experience. Look at the experience on these Carvana websites. And being in this industry, and I've never worked in any other industry besides automotive, we're bad. We are doing it to ourselves, but there is a different approach. And then it gets down to the integrated suite of applications around the circle, because what we find through all these customer journeys, it's the same Mrs. Smith. So whether you send her an email, direct mail, she went to the website, she engaged in search, did the same thing, it's the same Mrs. Smith. When I first got in this business, dealers literally used to tell me, hey, I want to put a different price in every medium. That's how I'm going to see what works. Think about how crazy that is. Imagine any other place that you do retail. If their email said the shirt was $39, the direct mail said the shirt was $19, the website said it was free, and then there was some private portal page that said, hey, yo, if you click here, I'll give you a special e-price. The other thing too that's happening in our industry that no one wants to talk about, there's not a lot of shoppers anymore. There's buyers. And consumers understand their power, they understand their leverage, and they're demanding to be communicated to in a different way, which is the reason why we've created our platform Apollo, being that it starts with the integration of the DMS first. It then reacts, because that's the other thing too. Anybody here involved in a BDC in any shape, form, or fashion? No? Okay. Well, a lot of times what happens in BDCs is it's just picking up it's just dialing for volume. It's not dialing for effectiveness. And by the time you make your 10th phone call, 6 of the people don't own the car anymore. 2 of them have moved, and the other ones are like, dude, I'm not interested. I also like to say sometimes, this also may be polarizing, is that we eliminate cold calls. There is no such thing as a cold call. With the right analysis on your data, every call you have can be a warm call. I don't know about you guys, but I play a lot of games with retail. I will literally go shop for things online, put them in my cart, and purposefully not check out. Because I know in 10 minutes, here comes that 15% off email for what I left in my basket. My wife was like, honey, just buy the shirt. I'm like, no, this is the game. I love my algorithm. My algorithm is called Mr. Cheap. So we actually create some of these gateways, but at the same way, we actually can create the smooth waters through the integration of the website. Next up is personalization. I don't know about you, but I am a little bit of a travel snob. Anybody else willing to admit you're a travel snob? Yes, my man. I love it. When I walk up to America, how many times have you gone to a hotel and they say, is this your first time here? You mean to tell me you don't know that I've been here 4 times? Oh, dude, I'm already going to another place. If I have to remind you of my value to you, how do I ever anticipate for you to respect my value to you? When I show up to Marriott's, they know, welcome, Gold Elite member. I'm like, now I'm home. And I'm having a little bit of fun. But your customers are the same way in your dealership. Some customers have bought 1 car from a store. Some have bought a couple. Some have bought families worth of cars. But guess how the website treats them? As if they bought nothing. As if they bought nothing. So this personalization really takes it to another level when you actually can engage with a customer. And in this example here, it is welcome, David. And when David goes to that website, David sees their current vehicle. And then obviously there's the value my trade, which we get so many. And the reason why I love the value my trade button is because a lot of customers click value my trade. A lot of service customers will click value my trade. Because when I grew up in the business, if you were going into service and you were a waiter, you actually would just walk through the new car showroom just to see the new cars. People don't do that anymore today. It might as well be a force field of do not enter. But what we see service customers doing all the time is clicking on the value of their trade while it's in service, just in case they want to take advantage of one of those offers up front. The other one is this. This actually shows you a visualization of that fragmentation that we talked about that technology creates, whether it be going from the online search for the 25 Chevrolet Track to the first vendor who provides the Google ad, to the next vendor who's actually doing the website. There's another certified vendor who's doing the digital retailing tool. There's a whole completely different one in the showroom. And this is the rat race that your customers are actually on every single day. 5 minutes, sorry. Every single day. So when you begin to look at your business, when you begin to look at this business from the consumer's lens, you then will become Smokey the Bear, and you can identify the causes that is actually allowing that to happen. This is a visual example of the types of data that's coming in to the overall platform and providing them that experience. Because at the end of the day, all of these data points connect. You know, sometimes when I'm watching these cop shows and they're like analyzing a crime scene, I'm like, man, those guys went to the footprints in the snow, and then they pinged the cell phone off the tower, and then they have the Walmart video where they were checking out with the gloves and the shovel. They got them. Oh, you guys didn't find that funny? Oh, I thought it was good. I thought that was awesome. Your customers are doing the same thing. But if you don't know what they're engaging in, if you don't know how they're engaging in it, it's going to be very hard for you to solve that crime, because dealers every single month are like, I'm spending this in marketing and advertising, but we only got this in sales. Something's not connecting. Become Smokey the Bear. Put that hat on and start looking at the various types of data that's going into your overall technology. This actually also shows you the consistency in what it looks like across the various mediums. And again, due to time, I am going to fast forward this a little bit, but look at the payment on that truck. It's $652.74. Sounds like a very specific number, doesn't it? It ain't $199. It's not $299, because the platform will also take in your manufacturer's incentives down to the customer's zip code and provide them an actual out the door payment. Now, it is based on what their credit profile ends up being, and there's some soft pulls and some things of that nature. But when customers see a $652.74, they're like, that's a real deal. As opposed to a $199 and you walk out with a $718. Customers have done this before. We act like... That's the other thing too that drives me crazy, is dealerships, to them, it's just another delivery. To a customer, it's their delivery. And we have to think about it. We have a principle, and one of the many principles in our organization is think like the customer squared. So this is a visual example of how that is executed across all of the mediums. And then this is that puzzle that we help the dealers solve. You will never go to a bookstore and buy a puzzle and it's not completed on the outside of the box. Because if they showed you the pieces, you would never buy it. They have to show you the vision of what it can become in order for you to hit that SKU. So our solution set with Apollo actually helps the dealers be able to do that. And part of that is going widget free, because these widgets are siphoning off activity on the sites, coming back through the front door saying, hey, look at me, we have a lead. But at the end of the day, those widgets are slowing the website down, and it's also slowing down the effectiveness for the dealership. This is that personalization. You go from the carnival on the problem side to the clean, sleek solution that is personalized on the right. And this is the difference of our website approach. You know, websites today can be a lot of sizzle, but people at the end of the day want steak. And that's what we do through the integration of our technology and our tool. And then the automation. The website is also your best friend, meaning that when it sees activity engaging on it, it automatically responds to that customer based on the activity that they're having there. The last thing that I'll articulate for you is this. This is a visual example of that fragmentation that I showed earlier, but now the website provides a scoring mechanism for each one of those activities, because if any of you did work in the BDC, everyone wants to cherry pick a lead today. If I didn't know any better, the dealers are basically like, can you just bring me people who are ready to buy and they already got their pen in their hand, the right to check? Okay, that's not really reality, but technology today can go a long way for scoring activity people are having to generate a probability on what it looks like for that consumer to actually transact. So with that being said, we believe in our solution. It is all in one, and we are firm believers that you must believe or be leaving. We're unbelievably grateful for this platform of ASOTU. We really do believe you guys are the new wave and what's happening in and around automotive. So grateful to be supporting it, as well as educating the industry that we love so very much. With that being said, I thank you for your time as well as your attention. My name is Justin Bird. Thank you. Any questions or comments before you roll? Yes.
So I think one, a lot of compliments. It's the first time I've actually got to see your presentation. But the idea of a widget-free website is different, right? You have a lot of companies that have developed core competencies in specific areas.
Correct.
So bringing it back to your earlier point, it's all about sales numbers and growth. Do you have data that supports that the difference of what you're displacing from those other providers is actually translating positively to your growth?
Yes, and that was the one slide that I wanted to throw in here. Inside of our platform, we basically have an ROI tab. And what it does is it shows you by consumer. If I had to give you an analogy, it basically is like cutting open the belly of a fish and finding every piece of bait that they swallowed. In addition, what it will show you is it will show you the gross and what happened to that consumer. And we always do a benchmark of the provider that we end up taking out versus the results that they're having now. It will not only show them the ROI, it will also show them if they actually took in a trade on that transaction. So not only was it Mrs. Smith, but Mrs. Smith brought us a trade that we also were able to sell. We also put her in a new car. These are the mediums that actually worked. This is what you invested in Mrs. Smith, and this is the return that you got. You can't tell that, in our business, the phrase, I'm not feeling it, is the worst phrase you can feel. So we've just programmed the technology to showcase to the dealers, answering that question of why through the platform, and that is our ROI tab. So yes. Yes. Anything else? Awesome. With that being said, again, thank you guys so very much for participating and for joining us here today. Thank you.